Good evening, East Alabama. Welcome into the locker room. I'm Namath Pitts. This Friday afternoon, we have officially reached the end point of the week, which means we are going to hit the weekend. So I just want to go ahead and remind you before we hit the weekend to hit that like and follow button on our East Alabama Now page so that you don't miss the locker room. Also, make sure you don't miss East Alabama Now News, which is tonight at 6:30 p.m. Mike Stedham and Katie Edwards always have your most up-to-date local news here in East Alabama. John Holder, he's only got one more day to enjoy Universal and SeaWorld and whatever else he's gotten into this week because it's back to business next week. But Kevin will be filling in for the final day today. And then, of course, I've got your sports. We're going to talk about the competitive balancing teams that change classifications. And what I mean is, well, yesterday the Alabama High School Athletic Association released their spring sports reclassifications for the year of school years of, well, the next 2 years. So for the next 2 years, things change. You have, of course, the biggest noticeable changes. Westbrook Christian, because of competitive balancing, will move up to 4A in baseball. We'll talk about that on our East Alabama Now News. Westbrook Christian soccer goes all the way up to 5A due to competitive balancing. Alexandria as a whole is dropping to 4A. Southside's moving to 6A. Jacksonville's moving to 5A. We're going to talk more in depth about those specific schools on our East Alabama Now page, or East Alabama Now News tonight. Now, today on the locker room, we're going to be looking at baseball, softball, and we're going to be taking a look at soccer and looking at the changes for reclassification. Now, the reason we're not talking about track and golf and tennis is because those teams are in sections, whether it's you're in the basically section 1, 2, 3, or 4, but more than likely a bunch of, like most of all of our local schools that are 3A are in the same section. Therefore, I didn't feel the need to actually break down those sections. But we are going to break down the new areas for baseball, softball, and soccer because we had some pretty good teams. You had Alexandria that made won the state championship in baseball. Westbrook made the championship. Oxford in the semifinals. You had, of course, in softball, Alexandria was in the semifinals. Had a lot of other teams at the state tournament. And then, of course, in soccer, Donahoe made the state finals. You had Westbrook Christian there that made the Final Four. Jacksonville was super close in the Elite Eight, so or maybe they made the Final Four. But needless to say, we had a lot of successful teams here in East Alabama that made a run at it. So with that being said, we're going to start with baseball, and we're going to take a look at every area that features an East Alabama teams. Also, some AISA schools that are going AHSAA that you might see in a local area. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting in Class 1A. So we're going to go to Class 1A and start with 1A Area 11. The first notice that I see here, that is not Jacksonville Christian Academy in Jacksonville. That is not. That is an AISA school that is making the jump to AHSAA. That is Jefferson Christian Academy out of Irondale. So Jefferson Christian Academy out of Irondale is the first team to join a local region, or local area, pardon me. So 1A Area 11 will feature Jefferson Christian Academy out of Irondale. It'll feature Coach Dwayne Boyd and the Coosa Christian Conquerors. It'll feature the team that Coosa Christian beat in the state quarterfinals this year, who was the defending 1A champs before this season, the Appalachian Eagles. Also joining those three teams will be the Raglan Purple Devils. They were in an area this past season with Faith Christian, JCA, and Appalachian. They come over with Coosa, Jefferson Christian, Appalachian. And the final team, no, that is not the Detroit Lions. I know y'all were getting excited there. That would not be fair. That is Victory Christian, the Lions out of Pell City. So your Class 1A Area 11 features Victory Christian, Raglan, Appalachian. No, that's not Alabama, but blue. That is Appalachian, Coosa Christian, and Jefferson Christian. All right, let's stay in 1A, though. Let's talk about 1A Area 12. A little bit of a change here. You have Faith Christian, the Lions, coached by Coach Ray. They will be moving away from the region with Appalachian and Raglan. They keep JCA. You see the Thunder there, Coach Tommy Miller. But the two teams that will be joining them is the Spring Garden Panthers and the Galesville Trojans. So you got the Ville of Galesville in there in 1A Area 12 with Jacksonville Christian Academy, Faith Christian, and Spring Garden. That is your area in Area 12. Moving forward to the next area, Class 2A Area 8. Of course, this is our south area with the Ramburn Bulldogs, Coach Whitley's team, as close as you can get to the Georgia State line. And they're going to have to do a little bit of driving because Horseshoe Bend is not super far, but it's not a quick drive. You see the Generals right there. So you're going to have Horseshoe Bend. and that is the Central Coosa Cougars out of Rockford. So Ranford's going to have to drive all the way to Rockford. Again, not a short drive, but 2A Area 8 features the Ranford Bulldogs with Coach Whitley's team and the Central Coosa Cougars and the Horseshoe Bend Generals. Staying in 2A, let's go north. A little bit of the same from this past season, except there's one change. You're getting rid of Collinsville, who was the area champion, and you're inserting Cedar Bluff, who makes the move from 1A to 2A. So in 2A Area 13, it's the same as last year, except Cedar Bluff is in, Collinsville is out. So you have Cedar Bluff, who's moving up to 2A. You have the Bulldogs of Gaston. It's not Georgia. That is Gaston. You have Sandrock. You have Coach Steve Gendron and the Donahoe Falcons, and then Coach Dalton Turner and the Pleasant Valley Raiders. So 2A Area 13 features Pleasant Valley, Donahoe, Sandrock, Gaston, and Cedar Bluff. All right, let's move to 3A. 3A Area 9. I got to tell you what, if you're Coach J.D. Phillips, you're Coach Harper, you're excited about the draw you got because you get Piedmont, Coach Dearman's team, out, and you get Randolph County in. Now, no disrespect to Randolph County, but Piedmont's a much better team, obviously, program. So for Wellborn, they do have a lot of talent coming back. For Weaver, they were very, very young. Sac struggled a little bit this season, but 3A Area 9 is a very open region, or a very open area, pardon me, in my opinion, for Wellborn and Weaver. Looking at Randolph County coming in, Piedmont's out. Sacs stays right there. So Wellborn, Sacs, and Weaver stay the same, but you take out Piedmont, insert Randolph County. Probably going to have to drive a little bit further, but I'm sure those coaches don't mind in this instance. So 3A Area 9 features Randolph County, Wellborn, Sacs, and Weaver. How about Piedmont? They go out of that area with Wellborn and Weaver, and they go in Sacs, and they go into an area in Area 11 that features Ohatchee and Glencoe. Now, this past season, it was Ohatchee, Glencoe, Hoax Bluff, and Westbrook Christian. Hoax Bluff moved up to 4A due to numbers. Westbrook Christian moved up due to competitive balancing. So Piedmont comes over to fill a spot. It's a three-team area. Two of these teams will make the playoffs. One team will be out. Ohatchee really struggled this year. Glencoe made the playoffs, lost to Lauderdale County. Piedmont comes in with them. So you have the Bulldogs of Piedmont, Ohatchee, and Glencoe. Three schools that are not far from each other. Ohatchee's probably the furthest drive for Piedmont, but Glencoe not far from Ohatchee. Obviously, Glencoe not far from Piedmont. So traveling certainly will not be bad at all for this area. And so 3A Area 11 features the Glencoe Yellow Jackets, Ohatchee Indians, and Piedmont Bulldogs. Let's move to 4A. I got to tell you what, this is just not, no disrespect, this is not a strong area at all. I mean, if you're Mumford, I really expect Mumford to win probably 2 straight area championships. We got to see what Hanley has, but this is the South area in 4A Area 8. If you're Anniston, you love this, though. You get away from the White Plains, Cleveland County, Jacksonville. You get put in an area with Talladega, which has struggled a little bit. Mumford, who made the playoffs last year, made the second round before falling to Bibb County. You have Hanley and then Anniston. So 4A Area 8, which is a South area, features the Anniston Bulldogs, Hanley Tigers, Mumford Lions, and Talladega Tigers. So very interesting area in 4A Area 8. Staying in 4A, this is a big change. First of all, Hoax Bluff moves up from 3A to 4A due to numbers. Coach Jerry Wendell and the Westbrook Christian Warriors move up due to competitive balancing. Then you have Asheville, who made the playoffs last year, made it past the first round. You have Etowah, Coach Bones' team, who made the second round last year. And you have Aniana, which is not a bad program at all. This is this is not going to be an easy area. This is going to be difficult, certainly for Etowah, for Westbrook, for Asheville, Hoax Bluff, who's going to be improved, Aniana. 5-team area, 4A Area 11 features Hoax Bluff, again, moving up due to numbers. Westbrook Christian moving up due to competitive balancing. Etowah, state champion 2 years ago. Asheville, again, good team. Aniana, not a bad team. So that's 4A Area 11. Staying in 4A, though, how about this? Alexandria drops from 5A to 4A. So the 5A state champions are dropping to 4A. They are losing 15 seniors. Blake Jennings' team, who made the playoffs this past year for the first time in a long time, they are losing some key players, though, too, like Tenney, of course, Ray, Curls. They're going to lose some key guys as well. Cleveland County didn't really kind of fell against Jacksonville and White Plains this past season. It's going to be interesting to see how they build that schedule because this is a tough area now. They're going to have to play some tough teams to better prepare themselves. And then Cherokee County, who was a team that probably makes the playoffs in any other area this past season, but they were in there with Etowah and North Jackson, who were really, really good teams. So Cherokee County is going to move over, get away from Etowah, North Jackson, DAR, and get in. There's still going to be a little bit of drive, but not going to be terrible for them. And so you got Cherokee County, Cleburne County, Alexandria, and White Plains. That's your 4A Area 12. Let's move to 5A. Obviously, the most noticeable thing here is Coach Jamison Edwards' team moves up from 4A to 5A, but I feel like this is a competitive area for them. Lincoln's not bad. Jacksonville's probably edged them in a 3-game series, but you have Jacksonville and Lincoln. You have Moody, the Blue Devils, and you have St. Clair County. So Jacksonville is going to have to do a little bit of driving, going to be heading more towards the Birmingham area, obviously by going to Moody, St. Clair County, and Lincoln. So they are going to have to travel a little bit compared to right now, but Coach Edwards' team, not a bad draw, certainly in terms of their area in 5A Area 11, which again features Jacksonville, Lincoln, Moody, and St. Clair County. And then you have 6A Area 11, which features pretty much the same as this past season. Of course, you got Shades Valley in there, the Mounties right there. You have Pell City, the Panthers. Oxford and Pell City played for the area championship. Both those teams made the playoffs. Pell City fell to Hartselle in 3 games. Oxford fell to Hartselle in 3 games. But 6A Area 11 features the Oxford Yellow Jackets, Pell City Panthers, and the Shades Valley Mounties. Oxford returning Nick Richardson, who will is the first guy that I think of when I think of Oxford next season. So that's 6A Area 11, and I believe this is the final area that we're going to take a look at. Southside moves out of 5A. They move up to 6A, so they're not in there with Alexandria. They probably like their draw. You get Gadsden City, who struggled last season, wasn't very good, and then you have Fort Payne. And so this area features Fort Payne, Gadsden City, and Southside. So that is the baseball reclassifications for the spring sports. We still have softball and soccer. You may think, well, isn't softball the same as baseball? It is in some, but there are little tweaks here and there due to some teams that don't move up because of competitive balancing. Again, we have a AISA school going to AHSAA, so we'll have the softball reclassification when we come back in just a minute. Hey, we continue on the Locker Room on this Friday afternoon. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Spring into freshness at WM. Celebrate the season with our bountiful selection of farm fresh produce. From juicy berries to crisp greens, taste the flavors of spring at WM. Visit us today and let the freshness bloom in every bite. For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today. For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
Welcome back into the Locker Room on this Friday afternoon. I'm Namath Pitts. Today we are talking about the Alabama High School Athletic Association's reclassification for the next 2 years. We looked at our baseball reclassification in our last segment, so let's now take a look at softball. So let's go back to Class 1A, where we take a look at 1A Area 12. This is a 5-team area, and it is the same as baseball, except Coosa comes over into this area and makes it a 5-team area. So Class 1A Area 12 features Faith Christian Lions, Jacksonville Christian Academy Thunder, Spring Garden Panthers, Coach Welch's team, made the state tournament this year, the Trojans of Galesville, and Coosa Christian. Now, Coosa Christian, Spring Garden played at regionals. It was a pretty big win for Spring Garden. Faith Christian struggled a little bit this year. JCA, much of the same. Galesville, not terrible, but Coosa Christian, Spring Garden. Obviously, Spring Garden looks like the clear favorite when you look at the early outlook of this area. But who will be number 2 will be interesting to see. Coosa Christian did make regionals, so something to keep an eye on with them. So Class 1A Area 12 is a 5-team area. Features Coosa Christian, Galesville, Spring Garden, Jacksonville Christian Academy, and Faith Christian. Let's take a look at our next area, which is 2A Area 8. In 2A Area 8, we have the Bulldogs of Ranburne. And talk about being completely different from baseball. Completely different from baseball. You had Horseshoe Bend, Central Coosa, and Ranburne in baseball. Your softball area is Ranburne, Southeastern, and Vincent. So you go from driving south to driving west. They're going to have to go over towards the Blount County area to go to Southeastern. Vincent's over in Pell City. So Ranburne is going to put some miles on the car when it comes to softball next year for those area games. So 2A Area 8 for softball features Ranburne, Southeastern, the Mustangs. I love that logo. It's one of my favorite logos. And then Vincent, which gives us a little bit of that Vanderbilt vibes right there. But that's your 2A Area 8. Looking at 2A Area 13, much of the same as baseball. The only thing here is obviously you take out, Gadsden's right there, but you take out one team, which was a 5-team area in baseball, which is now a 4-team area in softball. You don't have, you've got Cedar Bluff, who moves up from 1A to 2A. That's a tough team, by the way, too. That's a regional team. Cedar Bluff's a really good softball program. You have Gaston right there, the Bulldogs. You have the Pleasant Valley Raiders, and you have Sandrock. You don't have Donahoe, of course. They don't have softball, so that's the team that you don't see here. Other than that, the four are much of the same. Sandrock, Pleasant Valley, Gaston, Cedar Bluff. Cedar Bluff made regionals. Pleasant Valley made state. Gaston was, I believe, not far away, and Sandrock's not a bad program. They're really good in girls athletics. So that's your 2A Area 13. Looking at 3A Area 9, pretty much the same as baseball. If you're Coach Fulmer, you're probably loving this. Brenda Vincent, probably loving this. Randolph County's not a bad softball team, though. But you got Randolph County, Sachs, Welborn, and Weaver. The exact same 3A Area 9 for baseball and softball is the same. Looking at 3A Area 11, it's the same, except there's an addition. The first time you'll ever see their logo up there for softball in a long time is the Westbrook Christian Warriors. They will be bringing softball fast pitch back this season, and they'll be led by a coach that has a lot of success, at Springville, been at Crossville. He's going to do a great job. So Glencoe, Piedmont, and Ohatchee will be joined by Westbrook Christian, which will be their first year with a first pitch softball team in a super long time. So Glencoe, team that made regionals, was really good. Piedmont, a team that made state. Coach Poe and them fell to Glencoe. So you take out Hoax Bluff, add Piedmont and Westbrook Christian for Ohatchee and Glencoe. This will be a competitive area for sure. Again, probably going to be some first-year wounds for Westbrook Christian, but I think they are certainly going to have the talent in the school to be a really good softball program in the years moving forward. Let's look at 4A Area 8, same as baseball. Again, I'm looking at this. If I'm Mumford, Hanley, Anniston was better in softball this year. Talladega, I'm not really sure, but you have Anniston, Hanley, Mumford, and Talladega. 4A Area 8 for softball is the exact same as 4A Area 8 for baseball. And then again, we talked about it a minute ago, Alexandria dropping to 4A. So Coach Brian Hess's team looking at their area in 4A. So let's move forward to our next area in Class 4A Area 12, same as baseball. Cherokee County made the state tournament, really good team. White Plains fell to Madison County. They were a game away. They're going to have their fourth coach in their fourth season. Cleburne County improved, and then Coach Hess's team, who was in the semifinals, one win away from playing for a state championship in 5A. So they dropped to 4A. It's not going to get easier for them. It actually probably gets tougher area-wise, but now Alexandria dismantled White Plains in most of their meetings except for one this past season, so they handled them pretty well. It'd be interesting to see them against Cherokee County, but Coach Hess's team's got talent. They are losing a couple key seniors like Hess, Cockrell, and Bryant, but also got a ton of talent. Presley Slayton back. There's a lot of talent coming back for Alexandria. So they look like the favorite to start, but Leighton Arnold and Callie Richardson are not going to be bad at all. And Cherokee County's got a lot of talent coming back for a team that made the state tournament. So 4A Area 12 is going to be a tough area for sure. All right, let's take a look at our next area, 5A Area 11. And if I'm Coach Gary Ashley, I'm loving this because let me explain what happened. You had Moody in the baseball area. You don't have Moody in the softball area. Moody played for a 5A state championship this past year. Jacksonville moves up from 4A to 5A. Lincoln struggled this year. Jacksonville made regionals, fell in 2 games. And St. Clair County's, So if I'm Gary Ashley, moving up to 4A to 5A, yeah, it's probably going to be tougher. I don't even know if you can really say it's tougher because there's really good teams in 4A, but it is going to be tough when you get to regionals and try to get to state. But their area, I think, probably got a little bit easier for them personally. I think it's certainly a winnable area for them. And they've got a really good young group, like them 7th, 8th, 9th graders that are going to come up next 3 years. Jacksonville's going to be really good, much improved for sure. So the Golden Eagles got Lincoln and St. Clair County in 5A Area 11. Let's move to 6A Area 11, much of the same. Well, we get rid of Clay Chalkville, who was a team in there, but you have Pell City, Oxford, and Shades Valley. The Mounties exactly the same as baseball. but they're going to lose, of course, Berkeley Mooney, Ashland Burns. But I think Coach McKibben still has some talent coming back. But keep an eye on 6A Area 11, Pell City, of course, the wild card there, fell to Gardendale, game short of the state tournament. So Pell City, Oxford, and Shades Valley. And the final area that we're going to look at is same as baseball, Southside, Gaston City, and Fort Payne in 6A Area 14. That is your softball reclassification. That leaves one sport left that we're going to talk about, which is soccer. So when we come back, we'll have the soccer reclassification. Do not go away. We truly are still continuing on this Friday afternoon. It's not the weekend yet, so stay with us just a little bit longer.
We're able to connect faster than ever through technology. Maybe you've noticed that real connection is hard to come by. Parker Memorial Baptist Church offers you a place to connect, a place to learn more about Jesus and the difference He can make in your life, a place to build relationships with like-minded believers, or maybe discover what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ, a place to use the gifts and talents God has given you, a place where we love God and we love you. Parker Memorial Baptist Church, 1205 Quintard Avenue, Anniston. Visit our website for details.
We continue on this Friday afternoon on the Locker Room. I'm Namath Pitts. I want to remind you to hit that like and follow button on our East Alabama Now page so that you don't miss anything. We have some great stuff coming up. We have a summer giveaway, an opportunity to win some big prizes from local businesses here in East Alabama. Also, we've got Youth Baseball All-Stars coming up in 2 weeks. We've got summer workouts about to get started. We've got camps. FCA is doing a big power camp, sports camp that we're going to cover. So a lot of great things coming up this summer that East Alabama is going to be right there on top of getting you the most up-to-date information, highlights, interviews, and whatever else we can get for you. Hey, we're talking AHSAA reclassification. We've talked baseball and softball. Let's now shift to the football field, but for soccer. We're going to talk about the soccer reclassifications, and we're going to start in 1A through 3A Area 5. 1A through 3A Area 5 features the Donahoe Falcons. The boys made the playoffs before falling to Westminster Oak Mountain. The girls made the state championship game before falling to St. James. Donahoe's the first team that sticks out there. Faith Christian Lions are going to be improved. Weaver struggled a little bit for Straught and the boys, but they're looking to bounce back, have a stronger season next year. The girls were not bad at all. Sachs right there. And Childersburg. You have Childersburg right there. So 5-team area in 1A through 3A Area 5 that features Donahoe, Faith Christian, Childersburg, Sachs, and Weaver. And obviously I'll look at Donahoe. Anna Kate Wallace is going to be one of the best players in the state next year. She'll be back for them. Sam Wakefield will be one of the best players in the state. She'll be back for them. A lot of young talent as well. Laura Lee Church will be even better at goalie. So keep an eye on Donahoe once again to make another run. Let's stay in 1A through 3A though. Look at Area 6. All right, here's where we have some changes. First of all, you got Coosa Christian right there. There's the Conquerors. You got Glencoe right there. Susan Moore, J.B. Pennington, and that logo on the bottom left, you've probably never seen it a day in your life because I had not until yesterday. That is the St. Bernard Prep School. I'm not even going to try to say the word. That is the St. Bernard Prep School. And they're from the Coleman area, and they are joining AHSAA right there from the AISA. And St. Bernard is going to go in there with Coosa Christian, Glencoe, Susan Moore, and J.B. Pennington. So that is your Class 1A through 3A, Area 6. Let's move to 4A. Right here in 4A, you've got the Anniston Bulldogs, Cleburne County Tigers, Mumford Lions, Talladega Tigers, and White Plains. Again, if I'm White Plains, Mumford, Cleburne County, Coach Morgan's going to have they're only going to get better. One of their programs both programs are still young, but they're going to get better. And I'm looking at this area going, hey, maybe we can sneak in the playoffs right here because you certainly got a chance. Talladega, though, don't let them fool you. They're not a terrible soccer program. They're actually pretty decent. So, but right here for soccer, you have Anniston, White Plains, Cleburne County, Mumford, and Talladega. That's your 4A Area 5. Looking at 4A Area 6 right here, you got Cherokee County, Etowah, Hoax Bluff, and then those three teams, which are pretty close to each other, they're going to have to make some trips after that. Aniana, Aniana's not super far, but it's a little bit of drive. But New Hope's up towards close to the Madison-Huntsville area, so that is going to be a little bit of drive for those teams. But 4A Area 6 features Cherokee County, Aniana, Etowah, New Hope, and Hoax Bluff. All right, let's move to 5A. Jacksonville moving up from 4A to 5A. But Westbrook Christian, which is a 3A school, by the way, moved up to 4A due to competitive balancing the last time. They now move up to 5A. due to competitive balancing. So Westbrook Christian playing up 2 classifications in soccer. So Jacksonville and Westbrook had some wars this year. Jacksonville girls did get the best of them. The Golden Eagle girls are going to be so good. Got 2 8th graders that are just going to be really good. A lot of talent coming back. I really expect them to make another deep run. Lincoln's always been a really solid soccer school. And then Westbrook Christian's good. This is going to be a very competitive area without a question. So 5A Area 11 features Jacksonville, Lincoln, and Westbrook Christian. And then 6A Area 11 features Pell City, the Oxford Yellow Jackets, who didn't make the playoffs in boys or girls this year, but have in the past, have been successful. And then the Mounties of Shades Valley, they get away from the Fort Payne up in that area, and they're going back over west towards Birmingham. And then I believe we have one more area, which is 6A Area 14, very much of the same as baseball and softball, but it features Southside, who's also making the move from 5A to 6A. They had a team that played for the Final Four this year. You've got Gadsden City right there in Fort Payne. And that is pretty much your soccer areas that feature East Alabama teams. So we've covered baseball, softball, and soccer. Again, for golf, track and field, tennis, they're basically split up in the same sections where somebody goes, whether it's to Coleman, or Fort Payne, or to Lincoln, or to Hewitt in Birmingham. There's different sections where there's 4 sections, of course, there. But overall, those teams ultimately find themselves just trying to clinch a spot at the state tournament for each sport. Hey, that is going to do it for us today. I've got to get to the newsroom. We're going to talk a little bit more about those teams that are bumping up or down in classification, taking an outlook on those schools and how that came about. But other than that, I hope you all have a great weekend. We'll be off Monday. Of course, the locker room is only 3 days a week now for the months of May, June, and July, but we'll be off for the holiday. Hope you all have a great holiday. Stay safe out there. Don't do anything dumb with fireworks and boats, because for some reason that just seems to happen often. But needless to say, hope you all have a great weekend, extended weekend. I'll see you back here Tuesday on the Locker Room.